stay tuned for the end because there's something fun we have planned for all of you guys. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, what's up? Excuse me for the like little noise in the background you're gonna hear because it's my fan. All of a sudden went from like 50 degrees to like 70 degrees here in Houston and my AC has not kicked in yet. Anyways, do you guys miss this background? If you remember where I had this background, then you probably know what's gonna happen today. Me and you are gonna have a little chat. If you're thinking I'm not wearing pants right now, you're very right. Yesterday I scratched myself. Yesterday I officially bought my ticket back home for spring break. It was expensive, but worth it. For those of you who don't actually know me, I'm originally from Belize. I'm excited to be going back home and spending time with my family, friends, and my boyfriend. Super pumped. While I started packing, I started to realize that spring break and other types of vacations also are coming up for a lot of people out there. Like, this is mid-semester in most places. It's time for your break. A lot of people choose to travel abroad within their own countries, out of state, I mean, across the pond. Additionally, I started thinking about the new ban that's coming up with SingleUse Plastics in Belize. For anyone who doesn't know or who's been living under rock in Belize, as of April 22nd of this year, 2019, Belize is gonna start banning all single-use plastics. I'm talking bags, I'm talking straws, I'm talking forks, like all that shit. I started thinking, would it be so great if tourists also got to be a part of this? I know when you're going on vacation, you don't want to think about,
let me only take this, or I don't want to take that.
I understand it's difficult sometimes when you're on vacation, and even when you just think about a different place, you don't understand that their problems can inevitably lead to problems for you too. The world is changing, guys. Like, it's not happy with the way we've been treating it. Why not show a little bit of love to these places you're admiring? I love my country, and I want to make sure that it's there for generations, for different people across the world to be able to experience. It's hard for all of us to get into this mindset, but it's better for our country, it's better for the world, and you're gonna get to appreciate it more when you don't see a bunch of single-use plastics washing up on the beaches of all these beautiful places you're going to. It's worth your while. I decided to compile a little tiny list, so if you have 5 minutes to watch this video, it can help you with your travels. It can help the places you visit with keeping their places clean and keeping them pristine and keeping them as beautiful as possible for generations to come. Without further ado, here are a few tips for cleaning up your travels and making them the most efficient and environmentally friendly as you can possibly make them. You can use these tips anywhere you go. If you're going on a cruise, use these tips because a lot of the time the garbage does end up on the shores of beautiful locations that don't need them. If you're going on a land-based trip, take them along with you. It's going to serve you more and serve the people and the places more that you visit.
Minimizing your impact when packing for your adventure.
You might be traveling to places that aren't as developed as your country, or maybe places that are, but you're still worried you're not going to get the products you usually use at home. The most obvious method would be to go and buy the stuff and take it down to the country of origin. And you know, if you leave it there, you leave it there. If you bring it back, you bring it back. No biggie, right? Wrong. I understand where you're coming from when you want to bring your own products. I do it a lot with the natural products I get here in the US. However, there's a few options you have in order to even out the impact you have on a certain location or on the world in general. In terms of beauty products, toiletries, etc., you basically have two options. Your first option is to buy locally and buy naturally. Now, if you think buying locally is as easy as going into your local supermarket and picking up the same products you would at home, that's not going to X out your impact. But thankfully, there are so many other options you have that will cancel out or at least equalize your impact. For example, in my home country of Belize, there have been a ton of places sprouting up that are selling local, natural, homemade products. Additionally, a lot of these people are environmentally conscious. This is the Belizean Breezes Soap Company's soap. These people are located right in the heart of San Pedro or Ambergris Key, right downtown. If you're as lucky as me, they're right next door to you. Their products are all natural, hand poured in Belize, and have scents that make you feel like you're living the real Belizean experience. For example, this is the Belizean Jungle Exfoliating Bar. I've tried some of their soaps before and they're so good. You also see the container they're packaged in. It's cardboard. It benefits you too. I know you don't want to be lugging down 12-ounce shampoo bottles from the US down to Belize. They hardly even allow it if you're trying to travel light. It's just a hassle. They can get all over your stuff. By doing this, you're not only decreasing your impact on the environment, you're also benefiting Belizean-owned businesses and Belizean-made products. That's awesome. Some people are still gonna be like, I can't take the risk of getting other products. Maybe you're hair sensitive, maybe you're skin sensitive. I've been having sensitive skin forever, and that's why I get a lot of natural products from up here. But if you're going down for a temporary amount of time, why not try a traveling kit? The environmental awareness movement has led to a lot of innovative, a lot of cool solutions to your basic day-to-day problems. Now you can purchase mini traveling kits that are made from silicone that you can essentially pour small doses of the necessary products you have to come down with into these little bottles, bring them along with you to travel, and take it back for your next traveling experience. It's gonna decrease your impact through one, not having you lug down those huge massive bottles that are eventually gonna end up in landfills that will eventually be burned and release their pollutants into the atmosphere for the rest of the people there to smell and, you know. Additionally, you're less likely to leave behind a personal purchase, purposeful, say that 5 times fast, kit that you bought online for that specific reason. It'll make it at least a little easier for you to remember to take it back, and it'll serve you for trips to come. A little hook-on tip to this. If you're bringing down products from the US, right, and you're going to a location that has water, ocean, sea, make sure the products you're going to be using in the ocean and sea, like sunblock, is reef safe. For example, in Belize, we have a beautiful barrier reef, which is actually the largest living barrier reef in the world now because Australia's has died. It may not seem like much, but we get so much traffic in the oceans, and obviously people nowadays want to protect their skin, and I totally understand that. Trust me, I bathe in sunblock every time I leave the house. Check that the sunblock you're using is reef safe so that you don't give that much of a chemical effect to the ecosystem around you. I swear by the Alba Botanicals reef safe product. I take it on almost every trip I go down to Belize, and I take it on every trip I know I'm going to be in the water with. If you like the spray-on sunblocks, this is perfect for you because it is spray-on and it's all powered by air. The second tip I have does tie into the first. That's taking reusable, compostable, or biodegradable single-use items along with you. Now some of you might be like, what do you mean, Marcelli? Let me tell you. So those single-use plastics are going to be banned as of April 22nd, 2019. That doesn't mean, once again, that you can't decrease your impact right now. You can win at this too! Like I said before, this movement has brought along so many available products for you to use. So I'm gonna touch on a few of you guys' options. I understand people who like straws. You can bring down your own
Metal, silicone, or other option.
straws in your own carrier case, and it's only gonna cost you like $10 and an Amazon trip. And if you have Amazon Prime, you know that gonna get there as long as you order it within 2 days before. I love my reusable straws. I use them often, even here in the US, because I don't want to have that impact anywhere I go. Or I just opt out of having straws in general. But that's for the next tip. Now, another product that a lot of people use and buy at their locations or before is a toothbrush. And it's also the easiest thing for you to forget because it's one of the last things you use before you leave. You can make this simple for you and everyone else. There are so many other options to just a plastic toothbrush that's going to get dumped on the beach. For example, bamboo toothbrushes. They're 10 times better. They're almost completely biodegradable, and you don't have to feel guilty if you by accident leave them behind somewhere. It doesn't stop there. I know people have certain pet peeves on what items they can use and can't use in public and everywhere else they visit. There are so many options for little canvas baggies that you can put all your utensils and products in and take along with you. It's as easy as washing it in your sink, putting it back in your baggie, and sticking it in your bag. The third tip. I know that when I travel, I have a worry about certain items leaking into my bag or certain things just getting wet and gross and sticky. Now, I know I've seen a lot of people put it in Ziploc bags. And Ziploc bags are fine if you really think you can take care of them and reuse them and rewash them. I mean, we do at home, but a lot of people can't, especially not when you're traveling. So an alternative option is the silicone baggies they now sell. They're a little bit pricier, but they're sturdier and they last you forever. I got one as a gift from my best friend like years ago. Shout out to Bree. And I've been using it back and forth within my travels and I haven't lost it yet. And it has not ripped, opened up, or drained in any way, shape, or form since I got it. If you're going to a place with water, they come so much more in handy. Like in Belize, you take your phone and your personal items and you stick it right in there, and it's gonna stay dry for the whole day and your whole trip, regardless if you end up getting soaked or splashed with water. It's gonna keep your stuff safe. Tip number 4. Is that even? Be mindful that it's gonna take people some time to get into the no single-use plastic mindset, even in places that are banning them. So I know it's a little more work, but try your hardest to remember to say no to the single-use plastics. For example, one of the hardest things I find is that when I'm going around in Belize, even though I don't want the straw, I do forget to ask for it with no straw, and it's automatically put into the cups or automatically put into the drinks. And by that point, you're like, well, what is the freaking purpose of not using it? So just try your hardest to remember to say, please no straws. Please no plastic forks. Do you have any plates we could use here? Etc, etc, etc. This tip is simultaneously the cheapest, should be easiest, but hardest thing to remember to do because it's something you don't take a second thought at. But just like with everything else in life, you have to make sure that while you're disciplining your actions, you're also disciplining your mind. Remember what you brought into somewhere and remember to take it out. My grandma always says there's a place for everything and everything in its place. And the place for those things are not in the oceans or in landfills. And fifth, an additional tip, and it's going to be the most tedious and most annoying thing to have to do, and I understand, but it ties in with tip number 4. Always keep in mind when you travel to these different places or even places back at home that you brought certain things with you. So make sure you dispose of them in the most adequate way possible. The reason I say it's tedious, and the reason I know you're gonna roll your eyes when I say this, because you're gonna be like, really? You want me to do all this stuff? And then on top of it, if you bring down your own personal things, even if you screw up, and if you do end up taking single-use plastics or plastic bottles and all these things that might contain your toiletries and other items down to a certain place, try to take as much back as possible. Chances are, if you're coming from a more developed area, likelihood is you have better means of disposing those items than other less developed places do. And unfortunately, that's a sad reality. I know you're probably thinking at this point, how much of what you preach do you practice? That's a logical concern. Let me give you an example. Go back to the sunblocks that I say I bring down. Regardless of their components or what's used in it to produce that sunblock, there are still cans that end up in landfills in my country. Now, unfortunately, though Belize is starting to progress more towards recycling, there isn't a very easy way to do so. Instead, I've been kind of stockpiling all those items and bring them back to the US, where I stick them in recycling bins in my local Whole Foods. Because unfortunately here in Texas, not every place has recycling options. That's why I told you I get it. I understand that it's such a damn drag to do this. These are only a few tips, and I'm sure eventually I'll be back with more because this is something that's really important to me. I think if even just a few people use these small tips, it'd be so great for all these places that really are trying to maintain and sustain the beauty that they have and that the earth has. If you're traveling to the developing world, chances are there isn't a lot of recycling plans. There's not a lot of proper disposal methods for garbage. Even one person changing their usual traveling technique is going to benefit the country that you're visiting. It's going to stop air pollution, stop pollution of the oceans and the lagoons, help protect animals that are being affected by the huge amount of plastics being dumped into our ecosystems. It's gonna benefit everyone on a whole. And guess what? It benefits you too, because you can go back to all your friends that talk about all their travels afterwards and be like, oh, were you environmentally conscious? It's fun! And don't limit yourself just when you're traveling to a different country or abroad. This can go for anyone in Belize, outside of Belize. If you're just going to your local beach, please take these with you because it'll have an impact even if it's a small one. And everyone gets to say they did their part in protecting something that's incredible. I don't know about you, but I don't want to look back at places I've traveled and think, oh, it was so much better when I got there. It's so sad what it's turned out. You yourself can make an impact on this. I'm really serious about not just taking care of my country, but taking care of the environment and the world in general. And I'm so serious, drumroll please, that I've actually teamed up with one of my great friends, EINER. You've probably seen him in my last video, the Disney Sing-Along Challenge. You know, at the Belizean Prince, plug, 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 plug. Because we really care about the environment, and we understand that a lot of people don't have access to some of these reusable and sustainable products, or it's just too hard for them to get, or it's too expensive. We pooled some of our money together. We got some really cool and great items that a lot of people love and can use in order to reduce their impact on the environment. And there are 3 different environmental care packages that we're giving away and that you have the chance to win. And this giveaway is open to people in Belize, the US, and the UK. The link to my Instagram is down below, and below that will be the link to the exact picture that explains all the instructions. You have 2 weeks to enter before we unfortunately have to close the entries, but pick a winner who is going to walk away with products that are going to benefit you, especially if you're in places like Belize that are soon going to ban the use of single-use plastics. That's all I have for today, guys. So if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and also turn the little post notifications on so you know every time I upload, because obviously my uploading is a little sparse. Also, if this made you super annoyed by me and just made you want to punch me in the face and throw me off a cliff, also give this a thumbs up and like and subscribe. That way I know that you hate me. Click that little button. Okay guys, I gotta go.